And everything? All right, let's take it live. Live we go. Off it goes. It is live speaking now. Start this bloody other thing up and make sure that the fucking little giblets that run around the apartment playing with the dials and pegs haven't screwed it all up again. All right, let's see what we got. Yeah, that's working. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, talk a minute so I can see if you're coming through.
All right, I shall talk. Not sure what I'll talk about, but talking. I'm just pulling up everything, get everything all synced up and ready to go. You forgot to share your screen with me.
Yes, I'll get around to that in a moment.
Okie dokie.
Keep talking.
Keep talking. Okay. Why?
Because now you were coming in at a massively high rate, so I had to lower the knob. See what I mean? The fucking gremlins get in here and just screw with it. At least I'm not alone in this, man. I think Curry was bitching about that this morning before No Agenda went live.
Yeah?
He just says the goddamn gremlins, man. They come in here and play with the knobs and pegs and tweak everything around on you, even though you didn't touch a thing. Everything is out of adjustment. Every time.
For some reason, every time I listen to No Agenda Live, I wind up having the whole show just stop, and I have to refresh and restart the show in order to keep it going.
Oh.
I don't know why that happens. It's like my internet is grabbing it too slowly, and it gets all mucked up or something.
Oh, yeah, you're definitely an internet feed problem.
Yeah, I end up having to wait for the actual show half the time because I get frustrated having to restart the damn thing.
Yeah.
Happens less on my computer, more on my phone.
It's your Wi-Fi then.
Yeah, that's what I figure, and I just upgraded too, and I don't know what to do about fixing it because no matter what I tell the Shaw people, they say no, you should have perfect Wi-Fi. You're fine.
Oh yeah.
I don't know the magic words to make them hear me.
I say, well, there's a thing that's called, in theory, it should be perfect, but I don't really have that. There's a difference between theory and reality.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go together, but in my experience in life, they often don't go together. Theory and reality are usually conflicting very, very rapidly all the time.
Uh-oh, I sound like I'm in an empty room.
Well, I can't do anything about that. That's your microphone.
It's my microphone, but I didn't sound like that before. So how could it be my microphone?
Because now you're more hollow and tinny because of your new setup.
Did I sound hollow and tinny on Tuesday?
I don't know. Keep talking.
Okay, I will keep talking. It's weird that I sound like I'm in an empty room.
Keep
no,
talking.
I'm not hiding anywhere. I'm just sitting at my normal little area. I even have carpet now, so there's definitely no echo.
Just keep talking. It's not you. Keep talking. It's your microphone. I may be able to adjust it here. You got to keep talking, though. I can't do this unless you're talking.
Yes, but you have to stop talking in order for me to talk. That's the problem. Because if I end up talking over you, I can't hear you when I'm talking. So as soon as I hear a bit of your voice, I stop talking in case you're actually trying to say something important.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, something that's kind of cool that I have is I got these two magnetic hematite balls. And I know that magnets can help a lot with pain and inflammation. I used to have magnetic necklace, and it eased my migraines a lot. I have to get another one because for some reason the string always breaks and you never get to keep the beads. Doesn't matter if you end up having the necklace break in a totally empty place, you end up losing at least 3 of the beads. Somehow they just fall into the vortex in time and space. Sounds like I'm in a bathroom. Oh, geez. Oh, it's getting better. That's good. I found that these magnetic balls, if you put one on your palm and one on the top of your hand, it helps a lot with the pain from using a mouse too much. It's actually quite useful, and I have a bit of issue with my fingers, arthritis, I think.
Yeah.
I think the doctor called it something else, not arthritis, but similar enough to arthritis. And I find that using magnets actually helps a lot with the inflammation or stiffness or whatever you end up getting.
Yep.
So
there you go. That should work. We'll see how that sounds to the peanut gallery out there. You know, we got a couple of people in the peanut gallery anyway. All right.
Apparently we have 3.
Yeah, so it says. We're going to end up... well, this show is pretty niche, so that's why we don't get a lot of listeners. Plus, we're also doing it at noon on a Thursday.
Yeah, that probably has a lot to do with it.
Has a lot to do with the number of people that can show up live.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I have a feeling that most people who listen to this show just listen to it on a podcast, that they can have it going while they're doing other things.
Yep. Well, I know they do. Every once in a while, we get people show up to it and listen. That's okay.
Still a bit hollow, but not bathroom sounding. Okay,
no,
cool.
I can't adjust it anywhere. I had to drop your low end all the way off. I had to turn the low for you. I had to turn all your settings way down. It was really funny. I have to turn mine way up. I turn yours down.
Don't worry, it'll be different next time.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. The little gremlins will get in there and screw with things again.
Can you hear my typing this time around?
No, can't hear you typing.
Okay, good. Everything's always changing.
Hey, Hamdan.
It sucks.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Popping up and down. YouTube shouldn't be shadow banning this show. Our visitors.
No, this one's actually well behaved.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's getting better. I'm getting out my grievances on the other show, so I'm better behaved here.
Well, here's a question. Are we going to keep this show on YouTube even when we move the other one?
Yeah, this show is actually YouTube friendly.
Okay.
You know, because of what we do and what we cover here, it's 100% YouTube friendly. We only slip every once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, it's usually not too bad for the most part. So
Booknetic. That makes me think of magnetic books.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, having a book cover that's magnetic, and you could just stick your book to your fridge when you're not reading it. You wouldn't lose it.
Yes, you would. You'd stick it on the fridge and then search the house. Where the fuck did I stick that goddamn book? And you'll walk by the fridge to get something and go, oh, there it is. Because after a while, you don't look at the shit that's on your fridge. Nobody looks at the shit that's on their fridge.
Although, to be fair, having a magnetic book cover may turn out really, really bad, actually, just because I tend to put my books down next to my computer often.
Yeah.
It could be really bad.
Yeah, you could be all right. What the hell was that?
What is what?
Oh, I thought I heard something odd. All right, it is music time. Time for some good music. Bad singing. Carry us right up to showtime.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Preacher man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. answer, not saying they're right or wrong. I ain't no Texan dancer, well, move it right along. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie and the jigger, the scene who done the crime. Captain pulled the trigger, guess who's doing time? They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, is he yours or is he mine?
Most definitely mine. Definitely mine.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In our search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devil's at a crossroads, Joker's doing fine. Just sitting doing time.
Oh, yeah. Alrighty. It is time then. Let's wind this puppy up and get started.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
Charging forward. It's episode 512, and we have plugins for filling your time, tracking email, social sharing, simplifying things, going fishing, and ClassicPress options, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlook in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
Hey, look, we got that one well timed, man. We're still within the little music bed at the very end tail off.
Nice.
All right. We have the usual great show for you. A couple of quick things right out the gate. We are now at 61 weeks. You figure out what 61 weeks we're doing. Still counting. Life keeps moving forward. The show has to go on, and what a show it is. May as well just get out the popcorn, sit back, and enjoy the crazy show. It is going to be a wild ride for some time to come, folks. This is the Value for Value show. I look forward to everyone providing some value back. I like to acknowledge the No Agenda show at this point here for their inspiration and their stolen sound clips.
Squirrel!
Before I get started, you will want to hang around at the end of the show for our Q&A segment with Amber. And that Q&A segment is kind of split in two. Half of it stays only with those of you listening here on the podcast. The other half up on our YouTube channel. So you have to go all the way to the end, watch the end if you're really interested in the crazy questions Amber comes up with week after week. All right. With all of that, well, somebody has something to say to me.
Please, can everybody be quiet?
Whoops, wrong one.
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
There you go.
This is number 20 of 52 episodes for 2021. It's episode 512, and it appears we are going to get a little bit of freedom back. Not sure for how long, but CDC recently announced there's no need for masks anymore. Big box stores are dropping the mask mandates, and the media is talking about how to rewire your brain so you can more easily accept people. I hope that everyone out there is able to get out and breathe some of that nice fresh air that's happening. Sun is shining, air is fresh. The weather is a bit unpredictable still, but that's really no biggie. Just make sure you bring an umbrella and a sweater wherever you go, and you're good to go. Along with those 2 weather preparation items, why not bring a book or some music? Find a place in the great outdoors somewhere to sit back and chill, catch up on a podcast, or even just look up and see if you can catch one of those pyramid-shaped UFOs that are taking the internet by storm. Just remember to stay away from the media for a little while, at least once a day. Rinse and repeat as often as needed.
Absolutely. And we shall move along.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! Thank you. And now the WordPress news with John Overall.
And Ember. Now, I don't really have any news this week, but I do have one item. This is not news per se, but more of a warning to those out there, and you can pass this along if you don't see these emails already. It seems that the spammers like to recycle their scams every few years. They recycle the same old scams again and again. I happen to have, too many email addresses to count, and several of them are nothing but spam honey traps. And what it does is I get these things a couple of different ways, and I know, okay, it's instantly spam because it was sent to this email address, which I've never used or posted. They just happen to get lucky in their dictionary attacks. So what you've got here, this one that I keep receiving, is the simple email. It comes in and it goes, hey, so-and-so, you're running out of space on your email box. Please click here to get that. This is, of course, coming from your web hosting provider. And, of course, since I'm the web hosting provider, I automatically know it's not coming from me. At any rate, this is one that many people fall for and lose credentials to their email addresses. So make sure you pass that along to people. It's just another scam. This is in the 20 years, it's 22 years I've been doing this now. 22 years I've been doing this. I've seen this scam recycled about every 3 years. And I guess they're right on schedule right now. They're recycling it again. So pay attention to it. Pass it along to folks.
Just a short addition to that. An email that my partner has been receiving for his not open yet site. It's going to be a shop when we eventually get up and running. But an email he's received a couple of times is someone randomly contacting him saying, hey, I paid this allotment of money for this for some stuff from your store, and it ate my money, and now I want that money back. The store isn't open to the public, and there's no way that they could have gotten in there. Also, the money they said that they paid was a completely wrong number, and there's not even that many items.
Yeah.
So
that's it. That's an interesting scam. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, that's one that I figured I'd mention since you brought that up, because it kind of freaked him out a little bit when he read it. He's like, what? Kind of gives someone a bit of a heart attack when they're new to this. So.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. If they're new to it and they don't understand, and it's like, yeah, well, whatever. All right, so you've got news. Let's dive into it. First one you've got.
First one I've got is WT Tavern discusses vac stats requirements. So a heads up, if you're wanting to join a WordCamp in person, you may be required to give your private medical information stating whether or not you've had the vax. Not cool in my opinion, but it's still in discussion right now. Apparently, from what I have read, they seem to be leaning more towards, yes, they're going to do that. But there hasn't been a final decision yet. This is just a heads up. It may happen. That's
because they're a bunch of lefty communists. So yeah, this is something that many places are trying to do. They can't demand that you answer these questions. Because medical information is protected privacy information. Nobody can demand you give it up. And that's written in law here in Canada, and the States has the same laws. States has the HIPAA laws. We have privacy protection laws on that. So they can say, well, if you're going to attend our event, you got to show proof, and you actually, because they can say you got to show something or not attend our event. So they can do that, but they can't force you to give the information up. They can just restrict you, which is, of course, that's a whole nother story. So yeah, you can see it coming down the pike. If you want to hear more on that one, we'll bring this article to the other show.
Agreed.
All right.
The next one I have here is rebranding plugins may be the new fad, because the next up for rebranding and repurposing is Profile Press plugin. It is now known as WP User Avatar plugin. This plugin is now a full-fledged user registration, profile, login, and membership management plugin rather than the single-purpose custom avatar solution plugin. So they've added a whole bunch to it, completely revamped it, changed what it does entirely. So if you use this, or if you did use this, you're going to need to get a different plugin to do what you want it to do.
Well, no, it still sort of does what you want it to do. I read this article. What's funny is that I'm surprised that they're just now figuring out that that's what's happening. This has been going on for a couple of years. They had similar types of articles like this, and it's happened to a couple of other plugins. And it's usually a plugin that was developed by some college kid 5-10 years ago. It did all right, did pretty good. College kid went off, got a real job somewhere, and then abandoned his plugin. Then somebody comes along who's doing plugin stuff, and they go, "Hey, that one's got several 100,000 installs. Let's approach the author and see if he'll sell it to us." So they offer the guy, $15,000, $20,000. The guy goes, "Hey, big payday for me." He sells it off. They take control of it. They've got the user base, and then they go rewrite the plugin, push an update. And because everyone's so monkey trained to do their updates automatically without reviewing what's changed, they end up with a whole brand new plugin, not realizing that they've just screwed themselves.
Okay.
So
since I'm still new to this world, I'm just catching on to it myself.
Yeah, well, having been around WordPress now for 13 years.
Long time?
13 years since version 2.5. I was working with WordPress. I think it was 2.5, somewhere around there. And yeah, there's a whole lot there. And I was working with WordPress before we had the really good theme and plugin installation stuff. You had to manually install everything. So yeah, I'm surprised at that. It's something that they should be aware of, and you should be aware of if you're doing plugin updates. Take a moment, click to see what's changed in that plugin to make sure it's not some major upgrade or change, because they usually write stuff in changes for updates. Why are they updating? What did they fix? So
So the next one I have is massive updates to Gutenberg 10.6 that include, but are not limited to, duotone filters, query pattern carousel, and most used tag selectors. So for those using Gutenberg out there, so it's another update that they've done, and they've added some more stuff, changed a few things around.
Yeah,
not really sure how it's going to affect the use of it, though.
Don't know. I'm not using Gutenberg yet, so I've really got to make some time to play with it. Probably when it's finally crammed down my throat and I have no choice. That'll be when I actually have to do something.
Next I have up is WordPress 5.7.2 is now available. They're calling this a short cycle security release.
Mm-hmm.
The next major update is 5.8. I assume they do this often. I just haven't caught on to the pattern till now.
Yeah, okay, here's the pattern so you know, okay? 5.7 to 5.8 is a major upgrade. Okay. When they move to version 6, that's a super major upgrade. Okay. There's several versions in between 5.7, 0.1, 0.2. The 0.1s and 0.2s after the second digit, that is usually a security fix. They found security holes and they're plugging in, fixing them. Or making adjustments to something, or they fix the security hole, create another problem, and they got to release another version shortly thereafter. Go from 5.7 to 5.7.3, So that's what the digits are, is it tells you where it is in the development scale. Like version 1.0 was the very first version of WordPress. And then version 2 was a major upgrade, version 3 another major upgrade, and then version 3 I think they went 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 or something like that. Most of them usually get to somewhere around 7, 8, and 9 before they jump to the next major number. Sometimes I've seen them go as far as 12, maybe 13. But that's what the numbering cycle is. But the short security cycle, this one did come out. Most people, it automatically updated. For some of us, we don't like it to be automatically updated for anything. It's usually not a problem to let these point versions auto update on your site because they usually are just security fixes. But about 2% of the time, they break something and make a nightmare of it. And they have to push something out to fix it all again. But most of the time, they're pretty good. But when you're jumping from 5.7 to 5.8, that's a major upgrade. That usually means lots of things have changed and your chances of breaking your site are high. You usually want to wait until version 5.8.1 to do the upgrade because there's always going to be bugs in the in the major update. So that's what it is.
That's definitely good to know.
All right, well, let's take your last piece of news here for the day.
This is the top 10 threat detections for common threats vexing cloud customers, whether the business is huge, medium, or small. So I was looking into this, and they're saying that Microsoft 360, I think, or
365.
Yeah, they're talking about how it's really not good right now. The Office 365 is not good right now for a lot of people. It's having a lot of bugs, a lot of issues. There's a few other things that are going on, and right there, that list right there is 10 best ways to figure out if you're having issues if you don't already know them.
Yeah.
I found it helpful to look through, and even if you already know everything, reading through it will probably help you just to remind and keep an eye on things.
Could be useful.
There seems to be a lot of extra internet issues going on lately.
There has been for the last 2-3 weeks, there's been a massive increase in the amount of bot and hacker attempts out there on the web. There's been a lot of attempts. I've seen an increase in traffic on my servers. It's been a real pain in the ass swatting them away. It's like walking into a swamp in the middle of August, and not wearing a shirt or a netting, and then not having bug spray on you or anything, and then just saying, "All right, mosquitoes, come and get me." And that's basically what it is. And they come in and they just sting and they sting and they sting and they sting, and they're just looking for holes. And I don't know. I've seen a massive increase in the last couple of weeks. It's been really quite irritating. I've had to block entire IP blocks to keep them out of my servers.
So for the extras, we have things like Google's Project Starline. It's very Star Trek if you want to check that out. It's about hologram technology. Some job listings, a WordPress business cheat sheet for selling themes and plugins, cryptocurrency glossary. It's a whole bunch of neat stuff that I thought people might find interesting, but isn't really super important to know. Just kind of neat stuff.
All right, lots of useful stuff there. Okay, and this is a part here where, we're still at the front of the show. We like to acknowledge those that support this show with a little bit of acknowledgement for what they've done. And we ask people, support us with your time, talent, and treasure.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A to Z.
As I say, this show doesn't work without you, the producers of the show, and we like to acknowledge those producers. We like to start out first by talking to folks and acknowledging the artists of the show. We got quite a few artists now. We got 4 of them at least, and they kick us out some artwork. And this week's artwork here comes to us from Angel Lemieux of Koa Digital, and it's a really cool one for just putting forth, charging forward, man. That's what it is. You got a knight on his destier and heading out to take on the world. So yeah, I kind of like what he's done with this one here by taking the WP logo and stuffing it up inside the chainmail head. Yeah.
I was just going to say the logo inside the chainmail just looks awesome.
Yes, it does. It just looks really quite awesome having the logo inside the chainmail like that. Kind of like it. It's really cool. I really like what the artists are doing here. They're creating some really cool and unique art. If you want to check out all the artwork, you can go check it all out. Because now they upload it directly to the art generator, and you can see what's been uploaded so far this month. I'm going to break it out on a month-by-month basis. I'll create a new gallery each month, and then I'll move the previous month's galleries to another page so they can be checked out. So this is the artwork we've had so far this month, and it's pretty cool stuff. So keep checking with us. And hey, if you're an artist and you want to support the show and get your artwork out there, And you also get some links back and acknowledgement, all kinds of cool stuff, especially if we choose your artwork for a show. Hey, go submit it to wpplugins.com/art generator. All right. And we like to acknowledge our executive producers of the show, and that's those who kick us some of their treasure. Now, we haven't had a major producer in quite some time. That's $50 or more donation. Everything below 50 is anonymous. We thank you very much for that. And we still get a few of those. There's still a little bits of trickle bit of cash that comes in through the small anonymous donations. And we also like to give a big thank you out to those who hire us, either hire our services for web hosting or for web work, all of that stuff. Because you've been listening to the show, hey, that's as good as donating to the show. And if you ever want a shout out for that, just let us know. We'll happily shout you out for that. Other than that, I just keep it anonymous because I don't like to holler out all of my clients' names unless they give me permission to do that. So thank you very much for everyone. Greatly appreciate it. And if you want to support this show, just go to wpplugins.com/donate to find out all that you can do. All right, it is time for us to move on to what everyone shows up here for the show. Off into the depths of plugin depravity we go. All right, first off, ClassicPress options. We still don't have ClassicPress options. I haven't been working in ClassicPress, so I haven't done any added research there. My time is limited and what I can do with my free time, and ClassicPress has just not been on the list to play with. But anyway, those of you that listen to the show that do use ClassicPress, hey, kick us the information. Send us plugins. You'll get the acknowledgement for sending the information, and we can get more stuff in here for ClassicPress. We've got lots of links here to all sorts of ClassicPress resources in the show notes, so go check those out. All right, WordPress plugins. First one I've got out the gate for us here today. It was sent in to us by Nasimi Ngata, and it is called Booknetic. And this is a premium plugin. It's a premium plugin, and it's available through CodeCanyon. It's a feature-rich, customizable appointment booking plugin, WordPress. I haven't fully installed and tested it. He did give me a test license to test it out, and I haven't fully installed it yet. But I did give it a quick run-through and a checkout, and it does look like a pretty useful scheduler. It might be the kind of scheduler I want to check out and replace the one that I'm currently paying for that I use on my website. Anything that can help save me a couple of bucks each month is always a bonus to me. But it does look pretty interesting, and it does look like a scheduler that you can work with, create group appointments, reoccurring appointments. You could take PayPal, Stripe payments through it. Whole lot of different things that it offers for you. Go check this one out. It's called Booknetic, and I give it a 4-dragon rating.
That sounds pretty cool. Not quite the magnetic book that I was thinking, but...
Yep.
So first one that I've got is Easy Appointments. I was really interested in this. I was hoping it would turn out to be totally awesome, but when I started messing around a bit with it, I found it to be kind of overly strict. If you have only a few employees and it's easy to set up schedules and availability for them, this will work great for you. But if you have the sort of business where employees simply pick up the next available job once they're done their current project, I don't think this could work, because you need to be able to name every single employee, put down their hours available and their days available, and you need to be able to link every single appointment to those specific employees and their schedule. You also cannot create anything until all the employees and their available hours and dates are put into the system, which I found to be kind of really restrictive. If they had an option where you could put NA, that would be great. There's also the aspect of needing to know CSS in order to get this to look more pretty on your site, if the look and feel is important to you and you don't quite like how it's showing up. And there's another issue with the pro version not really offering much more than a free version. When I looked into it, people were complaining that there were still a lot of glitches because the pro version was still being developed in a few ways. So that's kind of a drawback as well. However, if you need this kind of strict setup for your employees and the times they're available, and you don't mind the look and feel of this form, then this will be a perfect plugin for you. Just don't bother with the pro version until they expand upon it a little more and make it actually worth the money, in my opinion. I give it a middle rating of 3 dragons.
Very nice. You know what's interesting about this one? When I saw it, I was thinking, is that the same one? This is the one I did a training video on several years back.
Oh, yeah?
And also I gave it a much better rating because it was a pretty decent plugin back when it was first developed. I still get questions on my training video, which is still up on the YouTube channel on it. And I'm like, yeah, that video is so out of date now. And I haven't looked at this. I considered looking at this one again, but this one here, from what I recall, is the kind of plugin you only use for, say, you've got a massage parlor or a nail salon or a hair cutting place, and you strictly work by appointments and you have appointment blocks set out.
Yeah.
And so it's a pretty good plugin for that kind of thing, but it doesn't have a lot of flexibility in it. So at any rate,
it's great for that, but not if you need it for anything else.
I can't remember the rating I gave it. I'd have to go dig through the archives of the website, but I did review it way back when I created the training video for it. All right, the next one I have for you is another plugin that was sent in to us by Nasimi Gata, and this one here is called FS Poster. I want to call it Posting Your Fs. That's pretty much how I would name it. Posting Your Fs. Do I have any Fs left to post? All right, no, I'm pretty much out of Fs. All right, so anyway, enough fun with the name. It's a pretty interesting one. This is a auto publisher for posting to all the major social media platforms. And according to this, it'll auto post to 15 plus social media platforms. It's a great opportunity to auto post your WordPress post and to all the social networks. And you can also use it to schedule up posts with it. You can also use it to republish previously created posts. Now, this is one that I am going to install and test fully on the website to see how it works. So right now I'm giving a brief overview on it. I'm gonna rate it at a 4 because it does look good and it is a premium plugin. And they did provide us with a license to test it out. So I'm going to give it a full-blown test, and I'll bring this one back to the review channel at another time after I've had a chance to give it a full thorough vetting and see how it posts out over time, plus see how much difficulty is involved in connecting it up to the various social networks, which is usually the problem with these auto posters. The plugins usually are great, but it's the connection process, getting it connected to the social platforms, which is never the plugin developer's fault. It's the social platform's fault because they don't want you auto posting. They want you to sit there and live on your phone and don't do anything, don't eat, drink, or sleep, and just sit there and play on their platforms. At any rate, go check this one out. It's called FS Poster, and I give it a 4 dragon rating.
And the next one I have is called Fishtail. This is a fun new plugin. Once you activate this, you wind up with this small school of fish that follow the pointer around the screen. It's lots of fun. The fish, you can make the fish bounce off the walls by moving the mouse towards the wall. I thought that was awesome. When your mouse goes off screen, the fish just kind of bounce around where your mouse goes off the screen, then they hang out waiting for your mouse to come back. So much fun.
You're so cruel to digital fish.
Also, bonus, the fish do not go into the header or anything you have on your page. It is not just the background. So they don't interfere with the information itself on your pages, which is actually a really good thing to have.
Oh, good.
Unfortunately, they are a little glitchy. They don't work with WordPress 5.6, and you lose them when you scroll down the page. They just sort of hang out at the top section of your page, no following you all the way down.
Oh.
But it's lots of fun. I really hope these guys are able to keep this plugin going, maybe expand upon it, create other little shapes to follow the mouse. I really, really like this idea. It's so awesome. Unfortunately, because of the glitches, I'm only going to rate it at middle of the road 3 dragons, but I really do love the plugin.
Yeah, maybe they'll put some dragons in there. It'll be lots of fun.
Or paintbrushes or something. I just think it's an awesome idea. I love it. I'm going to keep it on my sandbox just so I can watch the fish.
All right, the last one I've got here for you today is called Mail Logging, WP Mail Catcher. And this one here came about. I had to do some mail diagnostics on a client's site and find out where the emails were disappearing to on their website. And this is a great tool. There's lots of these plugins out there, and I've used several of them, but this is one I hadn't seen before. And I thought, well, let's give this one a try and see what it looks like. Besides, it'll give me something to review on the show. It's a great one. You just install it, activate it, and now what happens is it starts tracking every single email sent from your WordPress website. And it tells you if it was successfully delivered, if it failed to be delivered. And what I found was my emails were leaving the website, but they were being sent to an email address I didn't realize was embedded in the site somewhere. And once I fixed that, I started getting my emails from the website as they were appropriately sent. So at any rate, it does help you diagnose it. The other really cool feature I found with it is it keeps a log of all those emails. And what you can also do is you can go open up that email that was sent from your site through the log, and it shows you the content that was sent. Now, this one could be useful to find out if somehow somebody's managing to spoof stuff on your site and using your site to send spam. This is a great way to help track down that sort of event that might be occurring on your site. All in all, a pretty excellent tool for tracking your emails off of your website and making sure everything works the way it's supposed to. Go check this one out. It's called Mail Logging, WP Mail Catcher, and I give it a 5 dragon rating.
That sounds crazy useful.
It is. It is very useful.
Not as fun as fish following your mouse, though.
No.
Last one I've got is called User Admin Simplifier. Now, when I saw this, I honestly wasn't too sure about it when I looked at the description. It seemed like one of those so basic that they're just not really actually useful plugins. But then I tested it out and I was very pleasantly surprised. This is a simple plugin, but it's really useful, really easy to understand, very easy to use, awesomely effective. Once you activate it, you go into the settings, which you'll find under the tools, and you are able to choose any of the users right from there. You can disable any of the menus, submenus, even the admin bar for that page. This also works on a multi-site. Just make sure you are on the correct site dashboard and you're golden. It works on everything. It's really cool, totally free, and I rate it at 5 dragons.
Very cool. Anything to help simplify the user admin. All right. Well, that wraps up all the plugins here. Just a real quick thing. This show is still supported by... Are you tired of the same old web hosting? Not having the resources you need to run your website properly? Having a lack of control? Then you need johnoverall.com web hosting, providing you with all the resources you need to smoothly run your WordPress website or ClassicPress website. With strict limits on the number of clients allowed per server, johnoverall.com provides high-quality, fast server performance. Visit johnoverall.com for web hosting that won't slow you down. Absolutely nothing but the best. And remember, folks, I'm running out of space on my servers. Going to be running out probably in the next few months, and then this ad will just go away, and I'll have to come up with something else cool. Maybe we'll have the Rogues Tavern support the show.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, well, thing is that we're running out. Hey, for those of you that are listening, there's 5 people out there live. Hit that little like button, man. Like the videos. Come on, take a moment. Like the videos. All right. We got a couple things to close out. Oh, first off, before we start to move down to that, we've still got to talk about our contests.
It's a contest. WordPress plugins from A to Z.
That little bit there makes you want to turn into a headbanger. Really does. It's got that headbanging rhythm. All right, our contest, we are bringing them back next month. So make sure you pay attention, start signing up for the contest when they show up. And we'll be talking about whatever plugins and licenses we get. And a big thank you to Charlie out there who is working tirelessly behind the scenes to get all this stuff gathered up for us. So thank you very much, Charlie, for all the time and effort you'll be putting into doing this for us. We greatly appreciate you doing that for us. probably the only way the contest would continue is having someone else do it. And see, this is another thing. Charlie, great listener to the show. He decided to devote some time to the show. And this is what we're talking about. Time, talent, and treasure, folks. If you got time, you want to support the show in some way with time, hey, reach out to us. We'll find something for you to do. If you got talent, artwork. If you got cash, treasure, kick it our way. All those things help make this a much better show. We're really trying to be well behaved here. We really are. It's hard sometimes, but we really want to bring you high quality content which is appropriate to the WordPress world. All right. So a couple other things to quickly wrap up before we move into the Q&A segment with Amber. Plugins I covered up this week. I covered up Booknetic, which I gave a 4 to. The FS Poster, which I gave a 4 to, and the Mail Logging WP Mail Catcher, which I gave a 5.
Cover Easy Appointments, which I gave a 3. Fishtail, which I gave a 3. User Admin Simplifier, which I gave a 5. Quick joke about fish.
Okay.
What's a fish without an eye?
An eye fish? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
It's a fun little joke.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's like a dad joke, man. I guess it's a mom joke in your case.
Yep, it's a mom joke.
All right. Couple of quick reminders. We're still working on, we're trying to figure out something for meetups. They will come back eventually. And another, if you're not getting enough of Amber and I, and you want to hear us where we can actually go crazy, go check out the Rogues Tavern every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific time over at theroguestavern.com/live. All right. It is this time.
It's question and answer time.
With Amber. All right. I should actually just record that and fix that and add that type in there a bit.
You should.
All right. This is the Q&A segment. This is where we got to remember, folks, we'll split this right in the middle, somewhere where it's semi-natural for the split, but off you go, kiddo.
First of all, if anyone out there has any questions that they'd like to have asked and answered, if possible, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca. I will get them into this segment and we'll see if my dad can answer them. So first question I have for you is, when you're renewing your domains, say you paid for 2 years, then 1 year into owning it, you paid for another 5 years. Would you not have 6 years paid for?
Yes, you would.
Cool. So you can just kind of add the time on. That's really cool.
You can add the time on. I think they cap it at a maximum of 10 years. At least they used to.
All right.
I actually have a client I think is due for his domain renewal next year, and the last time he paid for it was 10 years ago. So he's probably going to go, what am I getting this invoice for? So
the next question, that one was pretty simple, I guess.
Yeah, that one's pretty straightforward.
Old domains you have never developed. There's 3 questions that go with this, and then there's like 3 questions that go with the next bit.
Okay.
So first of all, do old domains get hacked if you've never developed them?
I gotta get a clarification here by what you mean. Okay, old domains, you mean you've never developed. You mean you've registered a domain and you've never put it on a web hosting service. Is that what you mean by never developed? Or you mean you've put it on a web hosting service, it's set up for hosting, and you've never put a website to it?
Never put a website to it.
Okay, because there's a big difference. It's like I have domains that I've never put on my server, and I have domains where I've put them on my server, but I've never put a website to them.
Okay, well, that actually leads me to another question real quick.
Okay, well, let's finish the first part here. Do they get hacked? And now that you've clarified, you've put them on a server. You've attached the domain to a web hosting service, which means now you got to build a website. But if you've never built the website, they could get hacked as far as the security of the web server goes, because if there's nothing there, if there's no web pages for them to attack, no vectors for them to attack, it's just a website, a web name and an empty directory. There's nothing they can do. The hackers can't do anything unless they can infiltrate your FTP access or some other way to get a file uploaded to that empty directory. If they manage to get a file uploaded to that empty directory, then it could be hacked. So that's a both yes and no. They couldn't be hacked. There's a lot that goes into it. Depends on security, how it's set up, and other issues.
Okay. How do you have a domain and not have it on a hosting? Like, how do you just have the name?
You just buy the name at the domain registrar, and you don't do anything with it. It just sits. It just sits in the domain registrar, and when someone enters a domain, it goes to nowhere. It goes domain can't be found because it doesn't exist as far as the internet is concerned.
Okay. MDN said, old domains never die. They only fade into spam sites.
They actually do. What happens is somebody quits paying for the domain, and then the new owners buy that domain, and then they build a new website, redirect all the traffic to that new website that's full of spam. Oh yeah, it happens. I've seen it.
Okay, so the next one connected to old domains that have never been developed. Do you need to upgrade the PHP and whatnot on those in order to keep them? So like, yes, they're on a hosting thing, but you haven't done anything to it.
You don't have to really do anything. There's very little chance if you haven't done anything, haven't built a website, haven't installed WordPress or anything, and it's just sitting there, you pretty much don't have to do anything to it because it's not impossible to hack it, but it's extremely hard to hack it and for the hackers to make use of it.
Okay. So I'm going to change my last question here a little bit. Would there be any upgrades needed to PHP or anything like that when you do go to build on them? If say you bought it like a few years ago, it's sitting there waiting for something, you haven't done anything, and then you go to build on it. Are there upgrades that you need to do in order to be able to? That's
a maybe. That depends on the hosting. Well, you're hosting with me, so you don't have to, because in my hosting services, if somebody hasn't attached their website or done anything to it, their PHP will get upgraded automatically. And so when they first start building their site, it'll start with the latest version of PHP, and it's a semi-automatic thing on my servers. Some servers, I think an older cPanel, it won't automatically do these sorts of updates. So there's a lot that goes into it. Depends on what the hosting provider is doing, what the server setup are. It may or may not need upgrades to move forward.
Okay. So the next question is old domains that you have developed, like ones that you have started building on. And then I've got 3 questions that are connected to this. Do you want me to read them out?
Okay, read the question. Read the questions out. This is where we're going to split this. For those of you listening on the podcast, you're going to have to come on over to the YouTube channel to hear the rest of these. So read these questions out, and then I will play us out for the closing of the podcast part.
Okay, so old domains that you have developed, or at least have sitting on a domain, started working on, haven't really done much with, do they get hacked?
Yeah.
If so, how do you know when they have been hacked?
Well, they get hacked.
I'm just supposed to read them out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I was for some reason my brain was ready to answer the question. Sorry, read them out. You're reading them out so slowly that I feel like I need to answer. Let me just shut up and start that again.
Do they just sort of wither and die away on their own, the code falling apart like an old car left in your backyard? And do you get any sort of reminders about their existence?
All right, so there's some great questions there, folks. Make sure you tune in to the YouTube channel for it. I'm going to let my girl close us out for the podcast and enjoy my shot.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WP Plugins A to Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty, I'm going to take this one thing that Hemdian had in here real quick. And that's
I was going to point that out.
don't a lot of domains automatically point to the domain registrar you got it from until you repoint it? Yes, a lot of them you do. If you buy GoDaddy's, they automatically point to their servers and their landing pages so that they get all the traffic from them. And many hosting providers, many domain registrars do that. And one quick thing on domains versus hosting provider, you should always buy your domains from a different provider than you get your hosting. Always, because it's been my experience through time, especially if you go with a smaller company, because I've actually had the experience where somebody got their domain from the same hosting provider, and when they decided to change hosting, the hosting provider made it really a pain in the ass to get control of their domain. And so I've seen these sorts of things happen, piss poor business practices and shady practices. You know, I need to keep that $100 a year client because I don't know, because that $100 is going to cause me to go broke. At any rate. All right, let's take these questions out. All right, old domains that you've developed or built a website on, do they get hacked? Yes, they do. If so, how do you know when they've been hacked? Well, you might never know they've been hacked until your hosting provider sends you an email that says, I've just suspended your account because it was sending spam. You know, and that's true because I have clients that pay me an annual hosting fee that haven't touched their website in 5 or 6 or 7 years, and I just ignore it because as long as they're paying their hosting fee, I don't care. But every once in a while, one of them gets hacked. I have to suspend it, send them an email and say, your website has been hacked. And they're like, oh, okay, well, don't you fix that? No, you don't understand how this works. I provide your hosting. I don't provide your personal site security. It's kind of like living in an apartment building. They provide you with a place to live and a door. It's your responsibility to provide the rest of the security. You know, and that's exactly how web hosting is. When you get hosting, it's like a giant apartment building, and everyone has their own little apartment. You know, they can tunnel from apartment to apartment, but it's extremely difficult.
Good. That's a really good image, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what it is. That's how all hosting is. It's like some hosting accounts, though, they, like me, I build small apartment buildings with big apartments that people are comfortable in. Other ones, they build Japanese style smaller. In other words, they stack thousands of them inside itty bitty rooms. Okay. So that's usually when you'll know it's been hacked. If you've been ignoring it, you will know it's been hacked as soon as your hosting provider tells you it's been hacked. Because unless you have something monitoring it to let you know, you won't know. I've had websites get hacked back in the good old day when some of the hackers used to come in and just deface it. They'd put up a web page that says this site was hacked by, I can't remember the guy's name. He fucking hacked everything. And all he did was he put up a splash page everywhere. Can't remember his name, though. It was years ago. And I had some that I'd been ignoring. And I go in to do some updates, and I'm scrolling through the files, and I say, oh, this site was hacked. You know? So, yeah, it does happen. You just don't know. All right. The other question you got, do they just sort of wither and die away on their own, the code falling apart like an old car left in the backyard? Well, yeah, if it's WordPress, or some other similar PHP-based program, the code does kind of wither and die out. It doesn't wear out or go bad. What happens is updates occur, and the code quits working on some websites. I had a client that refused to update their website. I built it, and I was ashamed that it was even still in my list of things I built for years, because I built it in 2000. And that was back when I used Flash, and it was this horrible spinny thing, and it was like, okay, but it stayed the same until 2017, when they finally closed their business down and decided to quit paying me for the hosting because they were closing it down, and I got to close that site down finally. But that's how it did, and it needed updates and this and that, and they're like, no. It's like, okay, and things quit working as the browsers advanced. The Flash quit working. They had trackers on there, and those trackers quit as the browsers advanced. The code quit working on the website. I'm surprised anyone could even read anything on their website in the end. But they were too cheap to update the website. It's like, okay. So they do wither and they quit working, but not because the code is bad, but because the browsers advance and the code that was used is no longer readable by the newer modern browsers.
Although it kind of looks like an old car left out in your backyard after a while.
It does. It does. When you try to open it on a new browser, it does look like an old car left out in the backyard. It's got rust spots in it. The windows are missing. Grass and blackberries are growing through the front seat. That's basically what it looks like. All right. The other is, do you get any sort of reminders about their existence? Okay. The old domains you've got, you get, it depends on how often you pay your domain registration fee. I do mine annually, and so I get a reminder every year that these domains are due, and that reminds me to go, oh yeah, I've got this domain. I forgot I even own this one. I think, as I showed you the other day, all the, what do I have? I have 29 domains now.
I think it was 120 and 27.
Yeah. So we were looking through them, and I'm like, oh God, I forgot I had this one. Because, you just forget, because you got domains that you buy because you want to do something cool with, and you just don't get around to it because everything requires time, and time gets allocated to appropriate places. And sometimes that really cool idea you had that you bought a domain for just sits in languages, and you keep paying for that domain year after year. Granted, it's not a lot. I mean, it was when I first started buying domains in 1999, but the price came down nicely, and now it costs you anywhere from $8 to $15 a year for a domain. But if you got 120 of them, that actually adds up to quite a chunk of change every year. So you want to see, is it worthwhile to keep it? Like at one point, I did have close to 250 of them. And I started realizing that...
I actually have another question about domains.
Okay.
The longer you have a domain, does that mean the price goes down over time because you've had it for so long? Like
Nope.
Other things kind of give you a deal after time?
Nope. Price stays the same. Actually, the price on domains has started rising again in the last couple of years.
Okay, so it's like rent then. Whether the rent goes up or down in one area, it's going to go up and down in all that area.
It is rent. You are renting that name. You own it, but you're paying an annual rental fee to keep it registered in your name. To keep your name listed in the massive central database of every domain on the planet that is registered. They're all kept in a massive central database. So everyone that has their domain is registered in some central database somewhere. So yeah, you do get the reminders. As far as your hosting provider goes, if you've got the domain up on a hosting provider, you'll get a reminder from them every year to say, hey, you owe us money, or we're turning your website off. So that's where your reminders come from, is your annual reminders to pay your fees. So
cool.
All right, well, that pretty much wraps it all up. That was a rather entertaining set of questions. All right, we'll just call this one a good one. It's been really great. Greatly appreciate everyone showing up. Hey, come on, folks. Hit the like button. Nobody's done that yet. We've got 5 of you viewers on there. At least one of you could take a second and hit that like button. I mean, your mouse is somewhere nearby.
Okay, quick question. Hamdian said modern problems, domain hoarding. Could that also be considered a first world problem?
Maybe some second world places, where they make a living online, like the scammers and spammers. They probably put us to shame with the number of domains they own.
Yes,
Because
that's true.
they got to keep buying domains because their domains get known, and they got to turf it and get rid of it because it gets banned everywhere. So they got to buy another one. So So yeah, definitely a modern problem, domain hoarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting one. He said, I must have touched on fake sites usually hidden deep in the directory tree. Where did that come from?
When we were talking about when you're going through your sites and stuff, and you find random things there.
Yeah, well, what happens is this is another thing on hacking of your website that's been, well, sometimes even an active website can get hacked. If they hack it and they're not planning to try to impact what you do, but to use your good name to run their scam, they can get if they can get in several directories deep and create a new directory, they can actually set up another website in that subdirectory of your website.
Ooh, that could be an issue.
It is an issue, and it does happen. It's like, those bank scams, those ones that, they send you a thing that says, hey, your bank has got problems. Please click here and follow this link. And they've got the fake login pages.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of, hey, we owe you money. Click here to receive it. Now put in all of your information.
Yeah, put in all your information. Well, those are actually run on other people's websites in subdirectories. And then what happens is it collects a text file and then there's a program there that then emails that text file to the scammers.
Dean said, I'll wait till the end of the show before hitting like, just in case.
All right. Well, you've hit the end of the show. That's a good segue to let you folks know. Thanks a lot for showing up. We greatly appreciate everyone who shows up here and listens to us. And I'm going to play us out of here with a little bit of Days of Thunder.
These are the days of thunder. We're going to make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
All righty, folks. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Adios, mofo.